This is 5 Minute Feng Shui Podcast episode 149, House Maintenance That Builds Wealth. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui Podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and an abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easing for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help you improve your life, share inspiring stories, and always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away, and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that could change your life. Hello, my Feng Shui friend. We have an exciting day starting off here. This week, we have Tropical Storm. I started to say Hurricane Nicholas, but Tropical Storm Nicholas heading actually straight at my house. We always welcome rain here in Texas because, well, I always like a good drink of water. But it's something that, there's some concern. Obviously, it's a tropical storm. It's not quite a hurricane, but you never know because as those things approach landfall, they can build in strength. So, we always keep our guard up. And this isn't one that we feel is an imminent threat, but there could be more likely a rain event versus a big wind event that hurricanes typically bring. So I am going on vacation, as you may have heard, and you'll be hearing this as I'm on vacation in Hawaii, and I had no idea this was going to be my bon voyage, was going to be a big old storm. Who knew? Well, this is exciting, though. I do love a good storm. Sometimes, I don't know if you feel this way, I welcome a storm. For some reason, it feels like it's a giant tension release, kind of like a good cry. And to me, when a storm comes, it's like it clears the air, it blows the dust off the trees and everywhere, and the rain just makes everything feel fresh and green and all that nitrogen in the plants and in the grass. I love a good storm. And there's that sort of that buildup before the storm too, that release of tension. But fortunately, this is not going to be the damaging and destructing kind of storm that Louisiana had a couple of weeks ago with Hurricane Ida. And it's one of those things that if you are lax with home maintenance, you may have more worries, especially if you live in a coastal region like where I live on the Texas Gulf Coast. I'm really kind of in the middle. So if you look at all the way to the right of the Texas Gulf Coast where Beaumont, Houston are, and all the way to the left down to the bottom at Brownsville in Mexico, I'm kind of in the middle, right smack in the middle. And I always think, we sure do manage to dodge these storms frequently. And I find that interesting because you think something that's smack in the middle would see more of it. The good thing is we keep up with our house maintenance. We are aware of some issues that we need to attend to in our home that are repairs, just normal repairs that have to go on all the time. We have to maintain our home. And one of the important reasons that you do that is for safety, like when there are storms such as this one that's coming, or there is, any kind of event that occurs. Plus, the event that can occur is just the wearing down of your home and this decline of energy. And it's almost, you can feel that decline of energy. It's just kind of like that storm that I was talking about, that enjoyment that I usually have of having a storm, for that release of energy that it can often represent. There's also a release of energy that home maintenance, when it's deferred, also represents. And by release of energy is more a leak of energy. What happens is energy leaves your home over time if it's not maintained, if it's not improved, if it's not updated, if it's not kept up. You've seen the houses, you watch them, they look nice in the neighborhood, but over time you can just see subtle changes in them, little shifts in the landscape. Maybe a shrub dies here, or maybe some of the gutter is leaking, and maybe you see the fascia board along the roof line starts to break down and wear down. And when you see that, you can see a decline. You feel that decline. You feel it in your body. You see it with your eyes, but your eyes go straight to your heart. I just want you to remember that your eyes go straight to your heart. So one good reason not to watch horror films, because your eyes go straight to your heart. Your heart just doesn't need a horror film, does it? No, your heart needs something beautiful and pretty and sweet and uplifting. And one of the reasons why we don't do any horror shows in our house. But when you see that house, though, when you see that tree that's dying, that you know is dying, and you can see it, just the decline of energy going down, you see it. And even if it's a neighbor's house, you feel it. You have a feeling, even if it doesn't make you emotional, or sad, or have a feeling about it. There is a physical feeling. So when I talk about feelings, I don't necessarily mean like emotions, but a physical feeling. So you will have a physical feeling whenever you look at anything. Your body records it, whatever that is. And it especially records it when we're talking about your house. And when you see that doorknob that's just barely hanging on, or it sticks and it doesn't work right, or the paint is scuffed, or you've got some wallpaper that's peeling in a corner, you feel it. You look at it and you register a thought, usually like, oh, I've got to get to that. That's usually the thought. Oh, shoot, I got to get on that. And then you look at it again, you go, oh, shoot, I still need to get on that. And then you repeat that thought, and it keeps going inward. And a house is an outward reflection of our inward world, in my opinion. This is something that I find that we're really at one with our house, because when we have our house and it's in good shape, and especially after it's been nice and cleaned, and you've done laundry and everything's been put away, or a room's been freshly painted, you just get that that relaxation feeling, that feeling of contentment that comes with it. This week we're going to be going to Hawaii, and I'm so looking forward to it. The house that we're renting has a beautiful view. It's on the sort of the slope of Mount Haleakala, and it overlooks the Pacific Ocean and the Wailea area of Maui. Really looking forward to it, because it has a giant lanai or patio that you can see. It takes in just a sweeping view of the islands and of the ocean and sunsets. I'm looking forward to that, because like I said, you take in the world through your eyes, and I'm ready for my eyes to see something beautiful. After all the mask wearing and the news about COVID and that kind of thing, it's going to be nice to have just absolute beauty, natural beauty, the calming view of water and the relaxation that comes with that, and just a chance to kind of decompress from the last couple of years since we've had a vacation, since, well, we can really go anywhere with COVID. But here's what's interesting about this house that we're renting is that we're able to see it. I could see it online in two different places. And what's interesting, where I saw it originally was where we saw the house for rent and decided on it, and actually contacted this woman about renting her house. There's some other people were interested in it as well, but I also was looking it up online in another location, and I had seen the same house, but it was before renovation. And she had even mentioned in the description that it was freshly renovated. And I saw the house, and while it was a really nice house, it was a good house, a solid house, still with the great views, nothing changed about that. But it was tired. It just looked tired. It looked worn. It looks serviceable, but who wants to have a serviceable house on vacation? You want a beautiful home. You want a home that feels refreshed, that looks clean, that looks vital and revitalized. And that's what house maintenance and house upkeep does for you. And when I talk about house maintenance, it is important that you do keep the mechanical aspects of your house in good working order. That's important too. But it's also important that you keep up the visual maintenance. That is, that you keep up with the style of your home. How does it look? How can I upgrade it? How can I up level it, update it? We just recently purchased some floating frames. They're called floating frames or museum floating frames. I think there's another word for floater frames. And it's just a thin frame that goes around the outer edges of a canvas painting. And so we had two canvas paintings on either side of our bed in the master bedroom. And one of the ways that I wanted to up level our bedroom was to put a floater frame around those canvases. And what a difference it makes. The whole room rose up visually. And that was a great lift to our bedroom. But when I saw the pictures of this house that we're renting, pre-renovation and post-renovation, what a difference. And what a difference in energy, because I was seeing some posts where she had posted the house online, and the rentals were very few and far between, because people feel that declining energy. They saw that declining energy in the images, in the style, and when we see a house that's not updated, we see that reluctance, and we see that sort of that backwards kind of energy. And what's interesting is she did this renovation, and the house has been in constant rent ever since then. So she's gotten all her money back from all those renovations that she's made. So if that is not a case for keeping up with your house maintenance and keeping up with refreshing the way it looks, I don't know what is. This is why I titled this article, actually, that I had written some years ago, The Deferred Millionaire, and 8 ways to maintain your home and build wealth. I'm a big believer that, your home is a great way to build wealth, obviously providing that you bought it in the right area and for the right price and so on and so forth. I've got to put all those disclaimers in there, but you know what I'm saying. In general, a home is a very good investment, and you want to make the most of that investment. And it is something that you want to, think diligently about and work at diligently, which is keeping up that maintenance. It is one of the keys to a home that maintains its energy level to support you in your energy level. Remember that. This is what we're doing. A house isn't just something over our head. It's also here to support us, to give us a space where we can be and regenerate each day when we go to bed, to recharge and revitalize, and a place where we have all of our life's greatest moments. Usually our life's greatest moments aren't at the office. They're usually at home. So this is a really important reason why you want to put that energy and focus into your home. And especially when it comes to home maintenance, because when you defer maintenance, you're deferring money. And if you're putting off a cracked window, maybe you're not cutting down that dead tree, chances are you're not going to be receiving the opportunities and the growth in your life that you would have if you were to attend to those. This is a principal concept in feng shui, and that principal concept is qi. It's the quality of qi that we're talking about when we're talking about deferred maintenance or keeping up maintenance and keeping up the visual appeal and aesthetic appeal of your home, because qi or energy of a home will decline when it's got leaking faucets or a roof that's leaking, or the paint is peeling, or even if your house is cluttered or dirty. I've often talked about the paradigm of clean, and that's the house that looks neat, but then when you get a little closer, it's grimy. And that's the paradigm of clean. You can't have a clean house if it's grimy. I don't care how neat and tidy it looks. If it isn't clean, it isn't tidy. And that's so important, because when you are looking at a home that's not in good repair, that is not maintained, it gives you has this sort of depressive or sad aspect about it. And when you see a house like that and the occupants who live there, we often see occupants that maybe are in decline themselves. Thinking about millionaires. So I titled this The Deferred Millionaire. If you think about millionaires, many times they live in beautiful, attractive, and maintained surroundings. And if you're deferring maintenance on your house, you could be deferring wealth too. This is why it's so important to keep your house up. Rarely is there a case where you have somebody who's wildly successful and they've got a falling down house and a dead tree in the front yard. Most of the time, it's the home that the more successful homeowner is, the more their house represents that success with pretty plantings, nice paint, clean windows, and beautiful aesthetic interior. And that's because a home with successful occupants also may have services that can help them maintain that home in good condition, like lawn or cleaning services, or trained professionals who can come and update the plumbing and that kind of thing. But even if you're not a millionaire, you can still live like one in your home. And often you'll find that when your house is neat, clean, tidy, and that it's aesthetic appealing, that you'll find that your house is supporting you. You get more energy out of your home. Just think about every time you've looked at a area of your home that has maybe a broken window or a window that leaks or some other kind of a problem, you're going to be feeling that energy. It's going to pull your energy down. So it stands to reason that when your home is in beautiful condition, you're going to derive more joy and more feelings of success from your house and from that experience that you have with your home. I'm a big believer in the idea that you can duplicate another success by kind of following those patterns. It's a lot like being an investor and following Warren Buffett's suggestions and his investments. If you can emulate and copy someone who is successful, many times you have that same type of result. I know that that's definitely something that I've looked at in my own investments, but also in the investment in my home, because your home is an investment. So you always want to be putting energy back into it and investing your energy and your thought about keeping that house energized, activated, maintained, and kept up. Let's talk about how you can do that in specific terms. So simply just improving the maintenance on your house pays you back in that beautiful energy with greater opportunities, more satisfaction and contentment in life, and yes, even some money. I'm a big believer that keeping your money going back into your house is a good way for keeping your house, putting energy back into you. So let's talk about where you can start. One of the first places you can get started is at the front. It's one of my favorite places, always in feng shui. If your sidewalk is cracked or maybe it's lifted from tree roots, it's unlikely that opportunity is going to make its way to your front door. So definitely get that sidewalk improved, fix it up, get those tree roots moved out, get the sidewalk nice and smooth, because this is the waterway, the energetic way that energy moves to your front doors through that front path. I've often called your front path your doorway to success and wealth. And that is the river that runs right to your front door in the form of money and opportunity. So give the front of your home some TLC in the form of a landscape makeover. Make sure that you include checks on your sidewalks, porches, mailboxes, light fixtures, and of course, the front door. Make sure to work on your curb appeal, because it will pay you in increased opportunity, increased income, and continued growth. This is what's so important, is that we have to feed the front of our house. I have a group member in my Facebook group who has a house, but the front door, even though it faces the street, the front door is all the way around at the back side of the house. And she was asking what we could do about the front of her house. But the point is that the mouth of her house, the door to all the energy, is around the back side. This is a point at which all energy and the quality of energy of your life enters your home. So make sure that the front of your house looks great. In other words, as realtors would say, bump up that curb appeal. Curb appeal is an instant way to bring up the value of your home and to raise that energy level and bring more opportunity and money to you. When you arrive at a home of successful occupants, you always know that they are successful. They usually have a home that has beautiful curb appeal. Maybe they've got a fountain out front. It always looks nice. It has beautiful landscaping, lots of curb appeal. So work on that curb appeal. The second thing you want to do is work on leaks. Make sure that you don't have any leaks anywhere, because if you do have leaks, this is a loss of money, whether that's gutters on your roof, it could be your kitchen sink or a garden hose. When when water is leaking, so is money. Water can also be a source of emotional problems, whether that's an empty swimming pool, and that means missing water equals missing money, or it's a case of black mold, which can be spending on something that you don't want to be spending money on. When water is either completely missing or too abundant, emotions can be more volatile. So make sure that water issues are carefully attended to because of their emotional financial implications. And that means that you want to make sure that you are not hearing the toilet in your bathroom. Maybe you have an ensuite bathroom. You don't want to hear the toilet running at night because maybe the bulb in the water level bulb is not working properly, or the seal on the tank isn't working properly, maybe leaking, and then you hear the toilet running and the water running. And when you hear water running, that is health and wealth running away from you. So really important that you check all those sinks occasionally. Look underneath them, crawl underneath, and give them a good check. Now let's talk about windows. Windows are so important, and especially when it comes to making decisions and focusing. And if you're having a problem making a decision or you can't seem to focus, one of the first places to look is your windows. Do you have a window that maybe it's one of those thermal windows and it's failed and it's gone completely white? This is a case of cannot make a decision, cannot understand, maybe even has, if somebody has that type of window, I would have a concern about mental abilities, even things like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or dementia. I would be concerned about the ability or inability to see or think clearly. And that's what your sparkling windows represent. They represent clarity. So dirty windows, they'll hamper your ability to see your financial situation, to see your life situation clearly. So make sure that you keep up with cleaning your windows and also making sure that there are no broken windows and there are no failed windows like those thermal ones that are double paned and they break, and then maybe they have water running on the inside. That represents tears and sadness. We don't want tears and sadness at all. So keep those windows up. The other thing we want to look at is doors and walls. When you have doors that are scratched by your dog maybe, or walls are dirty from handprints, the feeling is that opportunity is missing and that life in general is in a decline. Over time, hopelessness kind of settles in. Make sure you repaint those walls and repair your doors. Doorways are the way that chi enters the house, especially the front door. You always want to make sure that the front door is open, attractive, that all doors work properly and smoothly. A sticky front door means that you've got sticky financial situations or sticky problems at work. And this is not anywhere where we want to have any problems, right? We always want our front door to be working beautifully and smoothly because that creates a life that works more beautifully and more smoothly. And door problems create energy problems, especially with money. Just remember that door problems create energy problems, especially with money. Now, another area where you want to look at is the lighting of your home. You never want to let light fixtures fill up with bugs or allow bulbs to stay burned out. I know I went to a client's house one time and they had one of those ceiling fixtures that came down in the kitchen, and it was a light box and there were bugs on the inside of it. They were dead, but when you looked up, you'd see like this dead bugs and moths and that kind of thing. That is not what you want to be seeing when you are in your home. You don't want to see any burned out bulbs. Even if you go into a bathroom and it's got one of those fixtures that's got 4 bulbs or 6 bulbs, if one of them is out, then they might as well all be out. This is declining energy. When you see that, you see decline, and then you start to feel decline. You never want to feel decline. Always make sure that all of your light fixtures are clean, that any kind of burned out bulbs are replaced, or if you've got a ceiling fixture that just doesn't look right, or if it's not bright enough, then you're not going to be able to see clearly or develop initiative in your financial life. Never underestimate the power of lighting to lift your financial chi or bring it down if in the case of those burned out bulbs. Another area that is just so, so important is the landscape. I can't say enough about it because all energy starts from the outside in. And when you have a beautiful landscape, all that beauty and that energy gathers and comes into your home. If your landscape, if you let it go, this is a great way to create some financial difficulties. A landscape that's dead or overgrown with plants and weeds in the grass create financial obstacles and financial drain. I'll tell you about a house that has, it's a beautiful home. It's always had magnificent landscaping. The occupants are a little bit older and they've had some problems this past year. One of them had cancer, both of them had COVID, and their yard just hasn't been maintained the same. And what's happening is that the house has become overgrown, the trees are overgrown, and the grass is dying. And you see, when you look at this house, which had always been this magnificent landscape, and the house always looks so beautiful and welcoming, what you see is this decline. And I believe that the occupants are in decline too. It's interesting that the occupants and their landscape reflect one another. That's what I want to impress upon you, is how your landscape can reflect your life. And it's so important that you keep it up and make it beautiful and aesthetically beautiful and appealing and lots of curb appeal. Now, this is never more so true as it is when it comes to trees. This is such an essential thing. If you have a tree, make sure that when your arborist cuts it down or your landscaper cuts it down, if you have to have like a dead tree removed, do not, whatever you do, leave a stump. Stumps will always remind you of a cut down tree, and trees represent health. Trees represent growth. And when you don't have health and growth, you have death and decline. And I want to impress upon you how important this is. I had a client who bought a house, and she had a big stump in the front yard. Her husband is challenged with some health issues, but also with growing his business all the time, with creating clients, more and more clients. And when they moved into this house, they had this cut off tree on the side of the yard, and you could see it was a big tree. It had been cut off, and there was just a stump there. And within the first year, his health declined so severely, ended up in the hospital, almost died. And I kept telling her, get that stump out of there. Once that stump was removed, he started to bounce back, and he bounced back huge, both in his health and in his business. Again, all energy starts from the outside and goes in. If the outside is dead, cut off, not growing, not productive, you've got dead, cut off, not growing, not productive energy coming into your house. We never want that. The millionaire's secret is always to pay attention to the grounds and the landscaping. Even if your yard is small, give it impact and put money into your landscaping, because it will pay off financially in your health, your vitality, and in this case, income too. Now let's move on to another thing that can get in the way of your home maintenance, and that is just to have too much of everything. Millionaire closets are neat and orderly. They're usually not stuffed to the gills. There's always some room for more, and that's the best way to have more, is to leave room. If you want to grow, have room to grow. Think about when you went to buy clothes for school when you were a kid, or you went to go buy shoes with your mom. I don't know about your mom, but my mom was this way, always grabbing the waist of my pants or pinching the toe of my shoes to see if there was room to grow. You always want to have some space left in your house that there's room to grow, not too much of everything. It's not a bad idea to, work on your clutter. If you've got clutter or just too much stuff, and by too much stuff, I don't mean a maximalism lifestyle. I don't think you have to be down to, a hard chair and a spoon. I'm not a believer in that. I think you should have as much stuff in your house as you need, but the problem becomes when we have an overabundance, and the balance and the proportion of the room is off. Not that it's just, you can see when you have too much stuff as opposed to when you have enough. And, it's sort of like, what is it? The definition of pornography. You'll know it when you see it. Anyway, money is energy. And when your house has too much stuff, there's little room left for prosperity to come in. So work on getting a harmonious balance of having things that are enough but not too much, and leaving a little bit of room so that you always have room to grow, because hanging on to everything is a surefire way not to have more. Now let's talk about cleanliness. I touched on this a little bit earlier, and the importance of clean. Clean house is a lucky house. And when you are talking about the type of energy that goes into your home, cleanliness is another area of home maintenance. We probably don't think of it that way. We think of that as sort of just something that we do, like we do the dishes every day, and you get dressed every day or shower every day. It's just something that is done, but it's actually a form of maintenance, because when regular cleaning is put off and delayed or is not done, then what happens is that dirt and grime builds, it embeds, it gets worse, and then it becomes impossible to get clean. This is why having good regular cleaning is a good part of your maintenance program for your home. And this is something that millionaires do. They usually have housekeepers and people to come in and keep the house maintenance up. Yep, even things like dusting the blinds and keeping the ceiling fan blades cleaned and dust free. It's true that cleanliness is next to godliness. So give your homes a good regular cleaning and good deep cleaning as well, a couple times a year, like fall and spring. In fact, I think fall is my favorite time to clean, even more so than spring, but I like them both. Make sure that you spend extra time too in the kitchen and the stove, because they both represent wealth and you want to always keep them sparkling. Let's talk about the visual aesthetic of your home. Does it appeal to you? Do you like it? Is it a house that when you walk into, people go, "Oh, that you have a lovely home"? You get compliments on it when you see it in pictures? Do you think, "Oh, that looks terrible. I hate that red chair"? Or do you look at it and go, "Hey, my house looks good"? I know sometimes when I go on vacation, I come home and I see my house. It's almost like through new eyes. And when I come home, every time I look at the house and go, "Oh my gosh, I really love my house. I've missed it, and it's beautiful." And so think about how your house looks to you. Is it appealing to you? Because that is part of the maintenance. Does some of the style look a little bit dated? Does it look tired? Does it need refreshing? This is also a part of millionaire maintenance. You want to keep your look of your home and the decor and the aesthetic appeal updated, refreshed, revitalized, and appealing to you. Because if it's appealing to you, it's going to be appealing to energy, and it's going to help you draw more energy. All right, there, we have had a lengthy podcast today talking about home maintenance. It's one of the things I really love a lot. So important that you maintain it. So let's just talk about 3 important tips today about the millionaire's home. Number 1, always make sure the front of your home looks good. Keep up that curb appeal. Number 2, make sure that you attend to anything that's leaking, dead, or dying. Anything that is leaking, dead, dying, or even broken. These are critical, because broken means broke. And if you have anything that's broken, that means you're getting hit in the pocketbook. Keep up with those maintenance. Make sure that things aren't broken, like window panes or door handles, the hole in the wall, anything like that. Get those maintained as quickly as you can. Lastly, keep up the maintenance of its appeal. Keep your home's appeal up and the aesthetics of your home up. This is a great way to keep the maintenance of your home in a visually pleasant way, in a way that lifts your energy, and that lifts your financial energy. All right. I hope this episode was really good. Wish me luck with Tropical Storm Nicholas. I think it'll be just fine. I'm barely even seeing any wind moving. In the meantime, aloha, and I will talk to you in the next week of 5 Minute Feng Shui.